Welcome to Low to Lifted. Here, we rise in Christ, see who we truly are in Him, and lift the world, one heart and one home at a time.
If you're going to do the work of a writer, you need to sit down and do the work of a writer day in and day out. And you sit down and get in the habit of writing every day to produce an outcome. So Steven Pressfield uses the phrase, muse will speak to you at that given time. And he tells the story of a guy who's an artist, who's an author, a writer. This author, he said, and people marveled all of his output, how much prolific output he had given, and how most people, when they look at a blank page, they get dumbfounded. Like, what do I write? How do I start? What do I start with? Blah, 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 blah. But this guy, he had learned to write prolifically, which means a lot, producing a lot of output. And so when he's being interviewed one day, they said to him, how do you do this? They're just marveling. How do you put so much out? He's like, it's not that big of a deal. I sit down at my typewriter every morning at 9 a.m. and I type. It's like, just do the work, as Emerson says, and the power to do the work will happen. So if you're going to be an artist, if you're going to be a photographer, if you're going to be a YouTuber, if you're going to be an editor, whatever it is you seek or strive to be, if you want to work for a particular company and represent them, then get down and do the work. So in this book, Real Artists Don't Start, Jeff Goins, he talks about Michelangelo and often how Michelangelo referred to himself as a poor guy, etc. And there's this myth that he was a starving artist. Well, Goins did research on Michelangelo and discovered he was no pauper. He was, in today's world and terminology, he was a multi-billionaire, probably a decamillionaire, 200 million plus net worth. Yes, he was paid for what he did. And it also went about talking and describing how he became the master that he became at art. He did what Malcolm Gladwell in his book, The Talent Code, talks about. He did his 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. He didn't just sit down one day and have a natural gift and just produce the David chiseled sculpture. No, he went and worked on bodies, like deceased bodies, and figured out how muscles work and how they pull and come in and out. And he did the work before he was paid for the work. So for 30 years, I gave my life to the Lord because I knew He could do more with my life than I could. And I have been through the fire of affliction, and I have been deeply tried and deeply, my life has been transformed because of Him. And I know if you will put your trust in Him and give your life to Him, He will make more of you than you can imagine. And I know that from personal experience. Like, I was an uneducated boy. I barely passed the college entrance exam. Yet, nevertheless, as I put my trust in Him, I ended up going to one of the most difficult schools to go to in the West to get into. And I graduated with university honors. I wrote an honors thesis. I defended it like unto a master's thesis. What? And I got something called an ORCA grant, which is a grant that gave me money to do that project. You had to apply for it. And then of the 6,000 people that graduated in my class, I was one of 60-ish. I think there were 66 of us that did the honors thesis. Like, folks, that wasn't me. That was because God planted a desire in my heart. And He brought it to pass. His commands must be fulfilled. And if you have a desire in your heart of something you're striving for, something you want to be, He planted it there for you. If it's good and praiseworthy and something that glorifies Him in the process, He gave it to you for a reason. Now go forth and do the work. So now, after 30 years of discipleship, I was probably 48 or 49. And I finally figured out what I want to do. And when I was 10 years old, the thing that I want to do did not exist. The thing that I want to be did not exist, but now it's here today to create content online to lift others as I've been lifted. And that starts with my children. I want you to rise up and be the son and daughter of God you were meant to be. Rise up and get lost in the service of others. Rise up and figure out what your talent is and develop it. Educate yourself on it. Put in the 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. Put in the time and the work and the effort, even though you're not getting paid for it now. Take advantage of the homeschooling environment that you're in to grow and learn from your parents and from the best books. And if there's something we don't know, we'll get you the tutors for it. It's time to rise up. Take advantage of the privilege you have. You know how to read, you know how to write, you know how to learn, but you've got to rise up and do the work. I can't do it for you. Public school's not going to do it for you. You have got to rise up and do the work. And I promise you, when you find that desire, that skill, that interest, that subject that really gets you going, whether that be spelling, whether that be math, whether that be science, whether that be history, or your history buffs, whatever it may be, that desire was given to you for a reason. Now figure out how you can build Father's kingdom with that talent and go forward and develop it. And then start sharing it. And then start lifting other people. And I promise you, it'll come to pass. And all things will start working together for your good. Just like Job of old. He was a perfect man. And God knew he was a perfect man. And the adversary came and said, hey, let me take him out. Let's see. I don't think he's got what it takes. And what happened? Job, this perfect man, he had doubts. He had insecurities. He quote unquote, Job, I think it's 325 or 335. He said, and I saw my greatest fear. His greatest fear was losing everything. So what happened? The adversary had power and took everything away from him. Because of fear. And God said, you can do what you want, so to speak, as long as you don't take his life, because he's a good, perfect man. And as he went through that trial and lost everything, including his friends, including his family, including his wealth, and he still testified of God, and he still did everything with his eyes single to the glory of God. Boom! He proved himself. And not himself, but he proved to himself that God is real, and he lived. And as a result of that, he got to partake of God's blessings. When you do what is right and you live in accordance to his ways and his laws, you are blessed with his blessings. And he wants to give you not just a few things, he wants to give you all that he has.
If this lifted you, share it with someone who needs a rising too. And join us at lowtolifted.com, where hearts rise, homes become heaven, and families lift the world.